Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, it's a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for being a part of our continuing programming here on Talk Today as we invite you to join us for some open line. In the first hour and a half thereabouts. Take your calls, field your questions, perhaps even spark a little bit of interest. 949-8037, 949-6990. Or likewise, call us on our Flow toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. 949-8037, 949-6990. Or, as we invite you to use our Flow toll-free line, 1-800-534-8255. 1-800-534-8255. You can call and share your thoughts with us. Now, what do you want to talk about? Well, got a couple of things to share with you, specifically from what some of you have asked, that we perhaps asked of the listening public to see if it's of any interest. The first thing is the use of our roads and the recent installation of the pedestrian crossings. Now, you get it from one person, then you get it from a second person, then you get it from a third person, then you get it from a fourth person, then a fifth, and all of a sudden it's almost like a snowball. And it's probably because more and more people are beginning to realize, whoa, this is new, and I try to think how to put it. One individual, he just said it again. He said it earlier, and then he said, well, I guess I was a bit frustrated when I said it. But then he said it again today, and he thought, no, I wasn't frustrated. That first comment was the sort of initial response, and sometimes the reaction that you get off the cuff, usually the honest one. Then you get a chance to think about it and you go, well, I might have been rude when I said that, so let me be a little bit more. But then you realize, it isn't. So trying to repeat, I certainly won't verbatim, because not only would Miss Susan say, now, watch your language, but it wasn't his tone necessarily, it was his, sort of comment that was important. He shared that, yes, on one hand, the people at Public Works and the Roads Authority and whomever, want the roads to be safe, and they're thinking that they're doing something, but where, would you put a pedestrian crossing in a roundabout? And presumably, now, I guess it's okay, it's the CNB roundabout, Ms. Susan, I should be able to reference it. And he says, sadly, if we look at the roundabout by the Yacht Club, where unfortunately that tragic accident happened, and we see other people crossing to go over to the little bus shelter there or into the yacht club or back and forth to the hotel. That is not probably only dangerous because of the high rate of speed that we travel on, but maybe because of the bridge and you're coming up and you're going over and maybe you can't see and whatever other reasons. But you wouldn't want people to be crossing, at a roundabout. Why put a pedestrian crossing there? That's going to stop the traffic. Now, he shared that the recent sort of installation of cones and the markings in the road seemingly, and I'm not a road engineer, but I kind of agreed with him on this. But seemingly that made the flow of the traffic around that roundabout so much better. And now to put the pedestrian crossing, he said that's like, taking something good and then throwing something bad into it. He put it a little bit differently, but you get the point. And I'm thinking, if one person is feeling that frustration or has made that observation, is it anybody else? So I told him, I said, sometimes he says things, and again, not just because of who he is, but I think because of, as I say it this way, and I hope that's not wrong, what he is. It's good that when people like that make a comment, they may have some access to certain things, whether it's an elected official or a talk show host, not that they're one and the same or the same importance. But when people like that can say something, maybe those of us within a sense would at least listen. And if it's, has what I think a semblance of safety and importance, maybe the discussion will be one that could improve our safety, security, or well-being and welfare. But it could equal at times, not just because somebody says something that you think is normally what they say makes sense. It could actually cause you to say, well, no, not quite this, but this instead. Well, his view has been repeated by not just one, not just five, but I've actually lost count now. A number of people who thought, why would you put a roundabout? Now, in the greatest respect and defense, I have not reached out to the folks at the Roads Authority or Public Works or the Minister or anything else, because you know what, sometimes a politically correct response, diplomatic reply, it doesn't really bode well. What is the perspective? Now, I can tell you that I believe, just as a motorist, that the cones and the markings, when they put them in there, I thought, wow, okay, gives us a chance that we may be understanding how to use the roundabout a little bit better, a little bit more efficiently. So we're going through them without the hiccups. Took a while to kind of get the gist of what was intended for some of us. Others quickly realized it. Now it seems to be working. Will that be a long-term solution? Will it mean that at some point we'll all understand, all of us, how to use a roundabout? As an example, I don't know that it isn't correct, but I think it is. We're in a roundabout, and let's just make it simple. Just the ones with the two lanes going around the roundabout. The lane that I call the outside lane, the left lane, some of us are in that lane, and as we're going around, we miss, or we decide that we're not going to exit on the first turn off, or the second, or the third. We go almost a 360. Now, to me, that doesn't seem to make good sense, doesn't seem to be safe, because the person to your right probably going to exit somewhere and may hit you. But anyway, luckily, Miss Susan reminds me, you might be tall, but at least you're handsome. Let's go to the phones. Hey, good afternoon, welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hi, good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Hey, how are you? How are you? How are you?
I am good. And I'm delighted to hear the topic today because it's about road safety.
Yes.
Yeah, we have spoken on this before.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many aspects to road safety to be considered. First, I want to applaud the NRA for the effort they are making towards trying to secure pedestrians and give them the rights of pedestrians. What a lot of road users, in particular drivers, don't know is that a right to be a pedestrian.
Mm-hmm.
It is only a privilege to be a driver on the road. You have to pay. You have to be licensed to drive on the road. You have to meet certain requirements
to
drive on the road. As a pedestrian, you have an inherent access simply because you are a human being on the road to the use of roads. Unfortunately, even with our 3-lane roads, we see where there has not been enough thought process in how do we secure and protect the pedestrian or the cyclist.
I want to interject, because I was just thinking as you said that, and I want to ask you specifically two things, but share one comment with you. The same comment I made about the pedestrian crossing at I call it the CNB roundabout, I think that's what it's called. It's probably one of the more attractive roundabouts in this country. I think it's just not just at Christmas. I think just in general, the landscaping and the lake, I think it's a beautiful roundabout. But the gentleman shared with me that and I won't name the country, but in a couple of countries, he said to me that pedestrians are prohibited from entering certain motorways. I think was what he used, certain roads, and even vehicles less than some cc and other can't go on those roads. So your comment about the inherent right for pedestrians, that can be limited to, say, motorways that are high speed, right?
Right. I mean, you can't expect you're going to be able to pass the road because you're a pedestrian.
Right.
3-lane highway. You're really asking for a lot. But what I think, and dangerously asking for a lot too. Remember, you're still only but a human being. The cars are made from metal.
Yeah.
But what I think we have driven, for the lack of a better word, ourselves into so much of a haste that we have forgotten the humanity within us all.
Right,
we get into the cars and we are driving on a 40 mile per hour road. Because you are in a rush does not entitle you to the right to break the speed limit and double it to go 80 miles per hour. You're breaking the law, first of all. Second of all is that we know that areas such as the Kimpton, where there is a lot of pedestrian activity, shouldn't we drive cognizant of that fact? And shouldn't we, as human beings, then think, as we're going up over this bridge, that there's a really, really great, a very real possibility that there's going to be a human being crossing or waiting to cross the highway.
Especially there's a bus shelter nearby, right? A bus stop.
Exactly. You've got a bus stop on one side of the street. You've got a hotel on the other side of the street. What then should we as drivers expect? We should expect that pedestrians are going to be crossing the street.
Right. No, so let me ask you then. Let me interject and ask you then, again, what you're sharing, and then almost similar to the comments that he was sharing earlier. He used the same area as an example. He said twofold. One, we put a bridge that potentially may have a ledge, could be used to access the waterways from the North Sound or the 7 Mile Beach if you ever cut it through and the boats can pass underneath. But whether that's the case or not, neither here nor there at this point. But if we put a bridge for some reason like that, could we also put it on the pass for pedestrians to move back and forth more safely? Yeah,
this is something that we have to go forward thinking with, because there's not every place that you can put a pedestrian crossing on the ground, but you still have to make arrangements for persons to safely cross the street, because there are necessities that require for the crossing of the street. So then how do we manage that? And I think that we are better, it's better thinking to start thinking of overpasses. Maybe we can look at the roundabouts at this time as a temporary the pedestrian crossings at the roundabouts. Perhaps we can view those as temporary measures while we put the funds in place and the game plan in place. We resource what is best for bridge structure and so on to look at putting overpasses in place. And when we're putting those in place, we also have to be considerate to the senior citizen and to the handicap as well. So we're putting something that is serviceable to the population itself. This would then aid the flow of traffic, but the safety and movement of pedestrians as well.
But let me ask you then, when we look on at that particular roundabout, in particular with the installation of these new pedestrian crossings, now I would love for us to have more safe passage on our roads and more pedestrian usage safely. But a series of pedestrian crossings near a roundabout, is that really adding to our safety or potential of putting pedestrian and motorists?
I think that it should then a bit, especially the one headed from off the roundabout going towards the credit union direction.
Yeah, but it got,
I think it should have went at least further back to give drivers coming around the roundabout ample opportunity for maneuverability. By
the agriculture pavilion there.
Yes.
The farmers market.
That definitely should have went a bit further back.
Well, even the other one too could probably have gone a little further towards the stoplight near the gas station.
The one going towards Jake Scott.
Right, and even the other one coming towards where they came on could have probably gone a little further. So
it's probably not the idea itself. The idea itself may be a good idea, but
too close to the roundabout. Right, and this is exactly what the gentleman shared, and then I can tell you it's a comment that I received from a number of people, and I thought, well, surely it can't be that bad, but of the deliberately conscious they're going through it. And I saw a guy yesterday and again today on a bicycle, riding across, pressing the light and riding across the bicycle on a crosswalk. I saw a car. Again, I can't tell you what the driver was doing or not doing. I can't speak that. But my phrase, I use it in my language, jam on brakes to avoid hitting a pedestrian who stepped out into the crosswalk. And that car was almost rear-ended because the car behind. Now, excuse me, I don't know what transpired on those cars, but I don't think anybody wanted to hit the pedestrian.
I thank them very much that they jammed brakes and didn't want to hit the pedestrian. I think the suddenness also of the implementation without a consistent warning system, on such and such a day we're going to be unlocking the right for pedestrian usage, so that drivers had even say 2 weeks of notice of it. You know, you're putting it in, but as they put it in, they activated it. And so now you have something where it's slam bam upon drivers. Oh, goodness gracious. Before I had a free flow, and now I've got a blockage on the roundabout, plus, and I'm talking about the yellow strips they put on there. Right. On that, I have a pedestrian crossing ahead, and everything is hitting me all at once. And so there's this major adjustment for drivers who have been used to having this free flow.
Exactly.
Now,
but the question is, should there be pedestrian crossings at roundabouts or so close to a roundabout?
I think that definitely we have to make provisions for persons to safely cross the road.
Right, but at a roundabout?
That it should be so. I don't think it should be so close to a roundabout. I think it should be at least 300 feet or 100 yards away. And the reason why I say this is, if you look at the road code for your braking and changing of lanes requires indicator usage and stuff, 100 yards or 300 feet.
Right. No, the question, and I can't tell you whether it should be 100 yards or a quarter mile, because, I'm sure there's an algorithm somebody can put together or some test. But let me ask one thing before we go to the break then. This whole notion of placing of pedestrians, is that roundabout, that area generally such a heavy traffic area by pedestrians that it warranted installing a pedestrian crossing there? I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of foot traffic there. I really don't know, but it would seem that that's why we put it there.
I think that provision should be made for the human being, not based on the number of usage. Was it put there because there's less traffic, and it may also give drivers an awareness that footpaths, pedestrian crossings are coming to roundabouts, and so they need to become more cognizant, more prepared, that they may be installed at other roundabouts as well? Is this a way of government preempting this minor foot traffic then for the driver to say, this is what government is doing, I need to start changing my driving thoughts, you know?
But the question is, though, at a roundabout, which would probably be, again, just thinking out loud, an intersection where traffic is going to move going in different directions as opposed to a four-way or a stoplight. Is that where me as a pedestrian will go in order to navigate the roadway? Because that would seem to be a busy, heavily, vehicular spot. I would probably want to go a little further away. Just thinking.
Also very scary attempt to make. I tried crossing the street once like that before, and it's very, very scary.
You're right.
So you can imagine then the relief that the pedestrian himself is getting in the fact that they have a pedestrian crossing. But I think we are both on the agreement that if it should be placed on the road, it should not be placed so close to the roundabout.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, at the same time, pedestrians also have to be wary of one simple fact. Pressing the button and stepping on the stripe itself does not give you the right to cross the road immediately.
That's
it. You still have to wait for the car to stop. Don't you go thinking that you have this right to cross, or you're going to step out in front of a moving vehicle.
But is that then the question then, if I may then, the type of pedestrian crossings? Remember way back when you had to press a button, it waited for a while, and then, the lights changed, and then you walked. Some jurisdictions have a countdown, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 5 seconds left, and then you walk, and then it'll change. Now we press a button and like the microwave is instantaneous. Have we put in the right kind of pedestrian crossing to make it safe, as you shared?
I think that every pedestrian crossing should have a countdown system for the safety of the pedestrian and also for the benefit of the road, the driver as well.
Definitely.
I know that Susan won't carry it to commercial break, but just one more comment on road.
Go right ahead, man.
On road safety. Can the bus drivers remember that they have 14 lives in addition to their own, and they're only chasing at the most 28 pieces of paper? If wind catch it, it's gone. Fire catch it, it's gone. Water catch it, it's gone. Those lives and injury and pain cannot be mediated in the instant. So if I can implore of the bus drivers to be cognizant of the people that you have on board, and even of the pedestrians who are trying to cross the street who just got off of the other bus, and for the heavy equipment drivers to realize that they are driving a lethal weapon and they don't have the braking capacity that I have in my little PT Cruiser. I can stop on a dime. You can't.
Right,
you know?
right.
The other thing also, so those two drivers, I don't call that one because instead I had two. But I can group that as
one part, subsection
one. One, right?
Go ahead.
The other one is road signs that they put out when they're doing road work. I want to call on the NRA and the police department. And I also want to encourage CUC to take part in a joint education program for people who are going to be working on the roads. Those are the gardeners, the water companies, whoever it is that's going to work on the road, so they understand the safe way to deploy signs on the road so that drivers are able to maneuver themselves safely, to change lanes and so on. I saw up until yesterday 4 signs, probably about 7-8 feet between the 4 signs that lit up immediately to a man working on the road. Now, there's no sense in you telling me at 32 feet away that you've lost the lane on me and I'm traveling 40 miles an hour.
There you go.
How am I safely going to change lanes or not run you over? So there's a way in CUC's safety manual, and I know I'm not supposed to call company names or anything, but I looked at this before because I've always applauded them on the way that they manage traffic, they manage their crew, their safety level, and their safety record. I mean, they're commendable. I mean, if there's a company in this country, I think, that is equipped to tell you about safety, it's CUC. And, I'm not minimizing other companies who may have a high safety record either, but these people play with electricity. And they come out from it unscathed.
Thank God, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, thank God. Thank you. Always, when I be driving by, I be calling to them, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you while you execute your duties. May God bless you and protect you.
I like the choice of words.
Yeah, for them 3 in particular to come together.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Miss Tina, forgive me. Miss Susan, thank you. Listen, 10 minutes over the break, boy. Norma's going to be not happy. All right, let's pause, take a break. When we come back, you call and we can complain. Or you complain and we can call. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
There are plenty of reasons to be a Logic customer. There's lightning fast internet connectivity. There's the great overall customer experience. And now you can improve your Wi-Fi connectivity with Logic Boost Wi-Fi for free. With Boost, you can extend your freedom to stream, game, and download seamlessly anywhere in your home, like your patio or your underground lair if you have one. Sign up now for any Logic Bundle package and get free Boost Wi-Fi for a limited time. Visit logic.ky for details.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really? Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating?
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger licking good. This is Caitlin Tyson, your reigning Miss Cayman Islands Universe, here to encourage you all to attend this year's pageant on Saturday, August 17th at the Ritz-Carlton Resort. It's going to be an amazing event. Tickets are on sale now at Sand Angels in Camana Bay and Funky Tangs in Georgetown. There's limited seating, so be sure to get yours soon. Thanks to our corporate sponsors, the Ministry and Department of Tourism, Cayman Airways, Hurley's Media, and Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's premier health show,
For the Health of It with Tara Bush,
is brought to you on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on 89.9 and 93.9 FM. Proudly brought to you by the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association. For more information on how you can become a member or the benefits of the CICSA, please visit www.cicsa.ky. For your convenience, the CICSA offices are open on Mondays from 9 to 12 p.m. and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And thanks to the caller just prior. She didn't say her name, but if you recognize her voice, maybe you'll hear it again. I almost want to be tempted and almost provocative, but I won't do that to her just today. And I hope she'll forgive me for letting us just cut her slightly so that we could take the news. But boy, Miss Susan allowed us to go over a little bit. Today's only Tuesday. What? Listen, it is open line 949-8037, 949-6990. Now the caller's comments, and it doesn't, she didn't have access to the notes I have here, even though I'm going to be on YouTube. I don't think Miss Susan zoomed in and focused on the little handwriting. And even if she did, I have a hard time reading what I wrote down, so she would even have a hard time deciphering it. But the caller made some points that a number of you had today specifically asked of me to sort of relay to our listeners. And as she was sharing them, I made a quick note and then during the break compared them to the notes I had that I wanted to ask us to consider. Now, if you think that what she said makes sense or not, call and share your thoughts. Can I read this comment from one of our very, very, I think, an credible listener? She says, in the caller's comments earlier, the caller said, she said, listen, we want road safety. We want it to be, maybe there's stuff happening. This person writes in reference to the pedestrian crossings at the roundabouts. It says, it's a death trap waiting to happen. End of story. Now, I read that not to be inflammatory, but that almost captures verbatim the handful of people today alone who have called and said, listen, this is a problem. Now, every single person, bar none, every single one has said we would like to see more bicycles safely on the road. We would like to see more pedestrian usage on the road safely and the like. Cars driving, a little bit more care and attention and caution and the like. But we can't do things on the roads that could conceivably undermine that safety and security. And just the last few weeks, so it's been a very short time, the amount of comments, I use the word complaints and I don't use that often, that people have shared in relation to the installation of the pedestrian crossings at the roundabouts, and that one in particular, that's, if I speak to 10 people, 11 of them make that comment. So do the math. 949-8037, 949-6990, or toll free with the kind compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-TALK, 1-800-534-8255. Now, the other notion that we want to share, some of you have said that, again, coming to road safety and the like. On one hand, some of the private gardening companies, when they're doing the maintenance of the roads, the medians down the center, in particular, that section between the Polo Beach and the Yacht Club roundabout that goes past the new hotel there, seeing that they block lanes days on end, and with seemingly as they wish. Now, is that something that should be allowed? Should there be more consideration to motorists? Well, some people seem to do what they want, get away with it, and other people, no matter what they ask for, they never seem to get anywhere. So, I guess, who pays the pauper? Well, you know how that goes. 949-8837, 949-6990, or you can send us a thought on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. The other thing we want to ask in relation to the sentiments were the idea of the speed limits on the bypass. A number have shared that the police have been, and it's a mixed bag. One lady said it's unfortunate that we're speeding on the bypasses when traffic isn't at a standstill, and the police, perhaps either to gain more revenue or maybe it's a deterrent measure, are there. Some of you have commented, well, if we wouldn't speed, the police won't be there. Some have said, well, if the police would patrol, you wouldn't speed. There's a which way. But a few have shared, well, could the speed limits on the bypasses be increased in some cases? The roads, if they're properly designed and constructed, could they move you faster? Isn't the idea of the bypass just that, bypass? Or these are just roads for development? And again, 40 miles an hour speed limit on a bypass. Could it be 50? Could it be 60? Some neighborhoods you see 25 and 35 mile an hour speed limits. Should they be reduced? So it's a thought to ask in relation to not just the safety and the like. But what is your view on some of the bypass roads? Do you think the speed limits are adequate? Should they be increased? And by that same token, I'll ask, in certain neighborhoods in particular, should they be reduced? Now, the road signs that the caller prior asked about, some have also referenced that, in that some roads, you'll see a sign, sometimes not even at the intersection, but just somewhere along the road, but there's no, now if I interpreted what was being said correctly, no sort of cross-reference. So there are two roads, there's only one sign. This is ABC Road, but the 1, 2, 3 road crossing over, there's not a corresponding sign. Or if there are 3 or 4 roads, there are 3 or 4 road signs on 4 different poles. Could they not all be on the same pole? One installation, less cost in planting the multiple posts for the multiple signs. Again, those who know about these things probably can tell you why it's done that way. But one lady in particular said that she has a family member who hasn't visited Cayman in a long, long time. So trying to remind the family member how to find the place. You go down the road, you turn by the breadfruit tree, and then you get to the Neesberry tree, and then you go past that, but then you back up and turn into the side road. Those things don't work anymore, because not only have the breadfruit trees and Neesberry trees all been torn down, well, the roads have been widened and new roads have been opened and the like. But some of the road signs were not visible, some were not present, so she couldn't say to her, well, drive down, Country Lane and turn around onto Iguana Way, and those things weren't there. So it was just a challenge. But she also shared that sometimes the roads themselves, and she says that having family that works within public works and the NRA and the like, it must be difficult to maintain the roads, to make sure the roads are painted and the lights properly working and the paint is reflective and all those things. But what can we do to make it safer, not just for our visitors, but for us who live and drive here on a daily basis? Well, let's go to our phones. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today. How are you today? Okay, I can't hear you but faintly. So, is it me or is it you? Good afternoon. Yeah, there's a call. I apologize, Miss Susan. There's a caller there, but now if anybody else hearing that caller and it's not me, just me, please let me know, because I'm not sure what the deal is there. And Miss Susan says there's a caller, so therefore I believe her, but I couldn't hear. 949-8037. While Miss Susan gets that call all squared away, and we could take it. Next time you see me, tell me if you could hear that person. Now, the road signs, the lines down the center of the road, the lines on the sides of the road, the installation of whether the lines that are painted correctly. Are there dotted lines when there should be solid lines when there should be dotted? The lines matter anymore? Are they reflective? Should they be? Now, we used to have the little reflectors on the roads, the cat eyes that some would call them. Do we need them? Do we still have them? One individual shared with me that just again the other day with the spate of rains that we had, that road B coming from the intersection of the gas station and the liquor store heading towards the bypass, said the rain was on the road, it was late in the evening and I couldn't see the lines that well. Now, is that a challenge? Try it again, Miss Susan. All right. 949-8037. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hey, I apologize to you. I could not hear you just now, man. I hope it's not my ears.
It must be the phone.
Boy, your phone must be like mine, boy. Somebody else listening all the time. Good afternoon to you, man. Thanks for trying.
That phone. I don't know what's the problem.
But I can hear you now.
Yeah, okay. Dwayne, I want to say, and I hope you give me the chance for saying 3 things.
Okay, you. This is what I heard you. I want to say something, then you went, and then you.
Okay, Dwayne. The first thing, the issue of this cleanup.
Okay.
I think it is good to give some people some work and 2 weeks, and the minister won't look good, Mr. Hugh won't look good, and take picture with those poor people. But I want to ask Mr. Hugh. I think Mr. Hugh own a big company, of a cleaning company. He can hire 50 or 100 of those people in his company because he hiring a lot of work permit people, so he can solve at least 50 of those problems himself.
Right, but on the face of it, I mean, assuming that you have the work to support them and also the people that are are willing to take the work.
You see, Dwayne, those people are willing to take cleanup job.
Mm-hmm.
Why he can hire them in his own company?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, the issue of this road with this guy from America, I think the government need to do something, because this man is broken all the laws in this country, and he not respecting any laws in this country, and there is need to be solution. Mr. Adam being a nice citizen, patient, his family being patient, and this is not going to lead to end up good. And I think the government need to do something. They need to gazette this road to be for everybody to walk in, and they solve this problem immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The most important issue today is the issue of public transport. We have increase of population in this country, and we see those public bus drivers, the behavior, they're not given a good service. We try to complain to this director of public transport, and he is not doing anything. It seems he's just sitting there collecting salary for doing nothing. And those inspectors, you see them in the public park playing with the phone all day, just writing if the bus carry 4 passenger or 5 passenger or 10 passenger, and they not caring what happened. And I hear some of them, they are doing business, collecting some US dollar from the driver to sell it. And
But, I mean, the stuff that you share in probably, a perception of, there may be some truth to it, but how and does that improve things? I mean, your opinion that they don't care, they're not working, is that really justifiable?
You see, I don't see they are doing anything about the public bus driver. And those public bus drivers, Dwayne, they are going, for example, from here, they should be going east end through north side.
All right, so let me ask then, right? If because this is an incessant complaint that we've had, the public transport, the routes are not being followed, the drivers are not this, the behavior, all sorts of things. Is that the people that you reference, the director, the staff under the director, is it them or is it the people above them, the board, the minister, the ministry, the whatever, the people up there? Is it that the responsibility goes higher for those who have the authority?
You see, Dwayne, first, I think the director responsible, the inspectors, some of them is not doing a good job, and the board is not doing nothing. They are busy, it seems, for their personal friends to do things for them or something. I'm not sure what is they busy with.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If you're saying that the lower, and I say this in terms of organizational structure, the ones on the lower end of the structure are not doing or not being held accountable or not, is it then that those at the top are the ones that are responsible?
Yeah, I think, Dwayne, the minister need to do something. He is responsible. The board need to be changed. I think a new board will be a change.
Okay, so you get a new board. What would you do? What would you want that new board to do? What is it that is not being done that you need to be done?
Yeah, the board need to go. They need to be removed.
Okay, so you said that. So we remove the board and we put me, you, Susan, Norma, Paulette, and George. I don't know, George may be willing. So we put a new board. What is that board going to do?
Yeah, this board needs to be selected from people who really have the best interest of the Caymanian people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see those people sitting in the transport board. They are doing something right.
Right. All right. You know what? You make some points, and don't hesitate to share with us respectfully. Let me see if I can get on the better side of Miss Susan. Go to our news and take a break. Ready for it, Miss Susan? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It's a talk show, and I do my best sometimes to try to stay on the breaks, but don't always work. Sometimes what I say, ask forgiveness and permission. Take license when you can. And so that caller or anybody else wants to give us a shout back after the news. But the idea of public transport, it ties in with the usage of our roads as pedestrians, safe and or perhaps more safely for us to use. Our safety should be, at least, a paramount concern, whether as a cyclist, a pedestrian, or as a motorist. The caller prior shared that, or implied, I should say, the cars are out of metal, the human body is flesh and bone. So I guess on a motorbike, a bicycle, or a pedestrian, what they say, all sides and my side. But again, doesn't negate the importance of the motorist to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more careful, and a lot more considerate. But at the end of the day, how are our roads being used? How are they being designed and constructed? How are they being marked? What sort of resources in terms of pedestrian crossings and positioning are there? All right, so what's the plan, Miss Susan? Oxtail and rice and beans instead of a little stewed turtle. All right. 949-8037, 949-6990. When we come back, let's talk more about the roads and road signs, public transport, and the like, the speed limits, pedestrian crossings, and there's a comment from a listener about, can I talk about that? Abuse of power and the like? Let's see if I can figure out how to wheel that into our conversation without coming back tomorrow and find myself unemployed. We'll see. All right. Stay tuned for Talk Today. It's only Tuesday. Imagine what tomorrow's going to be like. When we come back, more Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. For more information, call 946-3336.
Hey Cayman, this is Caitlin Tyson, your Miss Cayman Islands Universe 2018. It's that time again, so come out and meet your favorite contestants at this year's sashing ceremony. Each of the ladies will have the chance to connect with you and share their personal stories featuring their sponsors. Friday, the 26th, starting at 6:30 p.m. at Grand Old House. Admission is free. We'll be unveiling all of this year's sponsors for the 2019 Miss Cayman Islands Universe contestants. Mix, mingle, and show your support for your district. We hope to see you there.
Always separate debris from household garbage after a hurricane hits. Debris includes roofing materials, downed tree branches, and metals. All items of debris must be placed in separate piles to the front of the property or at a side that is easily accessible to collection trucks. Debris must be placed in a location that will not cause obstruction to roadways or come in contact with electrical lines. For more post-hurricane waste management tips, visit the DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The chief officer of the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure is inviting members of the development community to an informational and feedback session focused on the Department of Planning. It's all taking place tomorrow at 5 p.m. at the Family Life Center. Boris Johnson wins the Conservative leadership contest. He has beaten Jeremy Hunt to be named the next prime minister. It was an overwhelming defeat. Today is Theresa May's last full day in office, and her successor will take over tomorrow. The education minister and the justice secretary have already announced their resignation. South Korea says its jets fired warning shots at a Russian surveillance plane that entered its airspace on Tuesday. Officials says the plane twice violated the airspace over Dokudo Takeshima Islands, which are occupied by Seoul, but also claimed by Japan. South Korea's Ministry of Defense said it scrambled fighter jets in response and fired 360 machine gun rounds. Russia has denied violating the airspace. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Cayman is going to Carfesta 2019 this summer. Get a sneak peek preview of all performances we'll be doing in Trinidad. 2 weekends only at the Hartwell Theatre. Music and dance shows on Saturday the 20th of July and Sunday the 21st of July. The touching play, Downside Up, written by Frank McPhail on Saturday, July 27th and Sunday, July 28th. Tickets are just $25 per person per show. Purchase at Foster's Airport and Strand, Funky Tangs, Healthcare Pharmacy Grand Harbor, the CNCF office, and online at eventpro.ky.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Pure and cleaner.
Now reintroducing eco-friendly green Garmento fabric bags, which can be used as your clothes cover, traveling bag, etc. Also, get your fabric shirt boxes that can hold up to 10 folded shirts. And for those other shirts, put them on hangers with an eco-friendly poly cover. All bags are biodegradable. Puritan Cleaners. 3 convenient locations to serve you. Countryside, Savannah, 946-1884. Elgin Avenue, beside Off the Peg, 949-2452. 337 Eastern Avenue. Drive through, rain or shine. 949-7104. Free pickup and delivery. Puritan Cleaners. You feel good when you look good.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts. It is open line. Let's go straight to our phones. Hey, welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm good. I got one complaint, Dwayne.
Yes, sir.
I say if you notice everybody on that road is clean. Most of the government is giving them money.
So they all no. I must apologize. I didn't take note.
Well,
but
I will have to give them, like
they get assistance. Yeah. Okay.
Why the government don't hire every one of them to clean up the roads instead of paying them, making them sitting down? Because where I live is a group of people sitting on it 24/7, not doing nothing. The government is taking care of them. This man, the last call, was pleading for 1 month to hire them. I plead for all the politicians get together and pass a law. All those, well, I don't know if you were around, when Mr. Esther and them did it, they made them work for it. Every one of them that got life in the body that they can work, they're not a cripple, put them on road cleanup. And those that, because in Cayman got a lot of old people, sometimes they don't have nobody around them to take care of them. Hire some of them and make them take care of Cayman old people.
So, if I'm hearing you, because I've heard other people share something similar, that the people who are able, if they're receiving government assistance, that they put to some sort of meaningful employment, roadside cleanup, assisting other areas. How do you think that would be received by the people that are getting money? You think that would be something that they would want, so they have a sense of purpose as well?
Yeah, make them do something for the money, because I know you see plenty of people that is getting money from government and they're not doing nothing.
Yeah. Now, if I can ask too, because you raise, I wrote this down, I was trying to figure out how to do it. Someone shared, just like what you were saying, that sometimes some of the people who come out for these assistance, they struggle to find employment otherwise. Yeah. And they no longer feel like they have any sense, so they become despondent. They feel a little bit, downtrodden and beat and just defeated. And so if they can catch it for a week or two, they start to feel better about themselves. They got a little bit, reliable income. That would improve their mental outlook.
Yeah.
What else could be good for them? So they can clean up the garbage along the roads. They can help in other areas. I mean, what could we do for them to help them to just get a sense of purpose, as I call it?
But this one saying, you got a lot of old people that can't take care of themselves and need help.
Right.
Those that do not want to go on the street, make them work, even if it's 3 days or 4 days a week, but make them earn them and stop just sitting down doing nothing. Because I know some young girls, they are beautiful, they are pretty. You might know them too. You know who you're talking to me?
Yeah. I'm going to ask you if you could, before you hang out, give Susan your number, because I need to touch base with you indirectly for somebody else. That'd be all right?
Yeah, no problem. This one saying now, because I know some young girls. One beautiful young girl, and I call her name. She had one child, and government taking care of her. She had 2 times, government taking care of her. She got 3 times, and she not doing nothing. And she putting up the hole in the job. I heard that she was cleaning for a nurse, but I guess she rather to just sit down and make government pay the whole bill.
But you see, and I hear you too, and I mean, I've had a couple of people who said, end of the day, if they assess, get them assistance from government, and yet if it's more costly to find employment, or if it's a lot of other things in a way, they might decide, I'll stay home too, because it seems the government, and use that word loosely, is more interested in keeping people in this condition as opposed to putting them in another position where they become more active members of society. But how do you respond to those of us, and I say it this way loosely, sorry, the caller is gone. If that caller could, though, I need to get his number. I lost most of my contacts in this particular phone. Boy, I miss my BlackBerry. They were good phones. That's probably the only thing that me and the former U.S. president agreed on. Those are good phones. These are the ones these days. I'm not sure they're much. But anyway, that's just me. 949-837, 949-6990. A number of us, let's put it that way, so put us all in this category, have made comments that I think are disrespectful and disparaging. And we say, oh, those people, they don't want to work. They pick up a job here and there. Now, I'm not saying there might be some element to that, but is it that we're not able to reach them where they are? Is it that we're not somehow able to say to them, okay, we need to develop a certain approach to certain things? The caller's point, maybe they go out, 3 days for the week. Maybe it's, half days, maybe 3 full days. And maybe those people, let's say for instance, I think of a classmate who you put him in a boat, give him a boat engine, and he was not only, exceedingly happy, he was great at what he did. You put him in a tie and behind a counter at a business, a bank, or otherwise, he was like a fish out of water. Now, to me, he's one of the smartest people you meet. But don't ask him to sit in front of a computer, give him a pen, and that unless he's going to draw something or he's going to show you how to redesign the electrical, layout for the boat harness and the like. We have people who have different, learning styles and intelligences and the like. Now, are we trying to make them conform? Think of the maritime environment, since that's part of our history. Think of some of the people that understand, the body of water is around us. And are we harnessing that interest, that insight, that intelligence, intellect? Or are we castigating them? Remember, and I don't mean this to be overly disparaging, but remember long ago when the police got new boats and they were turned around, they were up on a reef, up on a pan shoal somewhere about, because they brought people from everywhere and anywhere who had no idea whether the boat engine went at the foot end or whether they should be in the back of the boot, as some would call it. And yet these guys who we said couldn't read or write, but they could tell you everything about a boat and the North Sound. Again, could we help them to be better positioned? Now, that was 30 years ago, and we've done nothing to improve the learning outcomes, the sense of lifestyle for some of our people. Have we really progressed any? And if the change in psyche, mindset, mentality, outlook, disposition, perception of our people have changed because of, we can fill in the blank and all sorts of reasons, and it's not any better, you think it's going to get better if we continue to bury our heads in the sand? Just a question. 949-837, 949-6990. Share your thoughts with us. And if you're an aspiring politician and you're just looking for easy wins, well, don't. If you're an incumbent politician and you're saying, I can capitalize on this, well, make it better. Let's work for the betterment of the country. And let's see if we can be constructively critical, if that's what we have to be in order to improve it. All right, this listener has sent through a WhatsApp. The phone lines are open, 1:30, just as a quick preview of what we have on our schedule. We're going to talk to the chief pharmacist over at the Health Services Authority about, preparing our medications and the like coming up in the hurricane season, and make sure everything's in order. So we'll get a quick chance. Won't talk too long with him. We'll get that and remind you how important it is. But between now and then, the open line, and then from 2 o'clock onwards, some more open line. You can call and share your thoughts with us. You can do it toll free. Flo decides that, it's been nice, good community service, and we're really grateful for their continued and extended support of our toll free lines for this programming, as well as for Talk Today, for the record and the like. It's a toll free call. 1-800-534-8255. Then if you want to WhatsApp, like I'm going to read this one now, the WhatsApp is a simple 925-3261. Says the pedestrian crossing at Mary Street intersection. So that layout is unnecessary. 2 pedestrian crossings for 2 restaurants. The placement of signs on the sidewalks is unsafe and does not meet the goal of road safety. I've seen people in wheelchairs pushed into the traffic because of those businesses advertising signs on the sidewalk. Thankfully, moving the signs is an easy fix. Now, again, many of our listeners have shared the comments. There was a discussion way back when, and then it went kind of quiet because it was somewhat addressed. Different businesses, the shopping centres and the like, would have signage, what I call sandwich boards or whatever. They pop the signs out on the verge of grass, on the sidewalks and the like, to sort of drum up business and tell people, here, we're in here, this is what we have on today. But they proved to be a bit of a nuisance or an impediment, or somehow, some would say, a bit of a hazard for people walking on the sidewalks and trying to get around. Even motorists turning in and out had complained that signage like that would block their visibility, therefore potentially unsafe. Now this listener shares that, again, pedestrian crossings being positioned in certain places, this one near the intersection of Mirror Street, we're trying to make it safe, but are we? Others are saying, well, if you put a sign on the sidewalk and causes people to step out into the road, are we defeating the purpose? Well, what they say only in the Cayman? Well, I don't believe so, but maybe we do it here. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Dwayne, Dwayne, why don't you go and try and get out of that air condition office and try get a hot paying job?
Why, how are you, sir?
I'm not good, but I just had to rough your feathers up today.
Would you please listen? I appreciate it very much. Thank you for doing that. But the hotter side, though.
Well, that's why I tell you, you must stop talking more to other fool people and go outside and go to the city.
But listen now, can you imagine? I mean, think of it this way. I'm so sweet, if I go in the sun, I may melt, man.
You so sweet? Lord have mercy, I wouldn't want to so.
I'm just teasing you. All right, sir.
Well, if you can't take joke, don't give it.
No, exactly. What they say, if you're old enough to give a lick, you should go and take one, right?
Yeah, bro.
There you go. No, it is hot, and I say this, I thank you for sharing that, because honestly, for those of us who are there working, whether on the boats, whether cutting the yards or construction, try to drink, water, and don't drink too many other fluids, and try to stay in the shade as much as possible, because it is hot. It is hot.
Yeah, well, I would just like to say this to you. I wish I was in a position, especially with my leg, that I could go even along the road and walk. I would take half the pay.
Yes, sir. That's true.
I would take half of it.
Okay.
And I'm not joking.
No, man. And thank you for sharing that, too, because I think too many of us take for granted sometimes the things that we have, right? And we complain that we're getting up in the morning and there's an ache. Boy, how many people were just glad to feel that ache? I'm not saying that that's everybody, but you're right, man. You're right. I went out on the weekend. Wasn't something that I necessarily bragging about or wouldn't have wanted, but it needed to be done. And I said, if I don't do it, I got to pay somebody to do it, and then I had to wait for them, so let me go do it. And I was only outside for a couple of hours, and that was a couple of hours where, when I came in, my son asked me, he said, boy, were you in the sun? Because it was supposedly the cool of the day, and my shirt had looked like I had dumped it in the sea. It would drench. I mean, and I wasn't doing anything that physical or exerting. So those who are there, like you said, man, please, all seriousness, drink enough fluids, proper fluids to keep hydrated. It is hot.
Yes, man. Everybody just needs to drink a fluid and keep yourself going. But I say, there's many people that can go out there and doing just like me.
Yes, sir.
I wish I could.
You're right, man.
At one time, oh God, even when I hear the ambulance passing over the siren, that thing hurts me, man.
No, man. It's really something that I think we're not aware of, in that there are those of us who would love to be able to do more for ourselves physically, cut the yard, pull the bush, dig the holes, but even just move around. Then there are those of us who don't really appreciate how beneficial a little physical manual labor is, whether it's washing the car or again mowing the lawn or what have you. And then there are those, like you said, who are out there every day, who are only too glad to be able to come in out of the shade and put their feet up. So yeah, I hear you, man.
Anyway, you enjoy your condition office and have a good week ahead.
Yes, sir. You too.
Don't trouble so long.
Oh, you brackers are protective to them, but that's okay. She's here. We got her here. So don't worry, man. She's good.
Yeah, well, all right. You don't worry.
You take care, sir. Thanks.
All right, have a good week.
You too, sir. It's good to hear from you, man. It's been a while, and I'm so glad. But those of you listening, yes, there's a bit of laughter. Some of you may be confused as to why it is, but, if it's not obvious, there are subtle ways to communicate. And sometimes there's direct and deliberate. If we ever take a break, Ms. Susan, we can. If not, I can share some comments. You the boss. I make no... Oh, boy. She flexing the muscle, too. All right. A couple of WhatsApps we want to read. And when we get back, we'll share those with you. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
King Sports Center Art of Fun Summer Camp is back from July 2nd to August 2nd. Now in its 15th year, the Art of Fun Camp is ideal for kids ages 5 through 10 with activities from football, basketball, dodgeball, squash, rock climbing, arts and craft, dance, singing, and more. Your child can practice physical and social skills while having fun in a safe and secure environment. For more info, call 946-KING. Like King's Sports Center on Facebook, and you can also find them on Instagram or call 946-5464. King Sports Center, providing you with all your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs. Register before May 31st and save 10% on camp registration. The Breeze Fusion is back Saturday, November 2nd.
Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run and a 10K run for half marathon trainers. Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCVO. Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studios. Registration is only $15 if registered by September 30th. And all early registrants enter to win a Cayman Airways voucher.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Saturday, November 2nd.
JN Money Transfer, in association with Roma United Sports Club, present the official Jamaica Independence celebrations on Friday, August 2nd. Daytime activities take place on Cardinal Avenue from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. with the best Jamaican food, arts and craft display, free sampling, and free health checks. Don't miss the free lunch hour concert, plus lots of prizes and giveaways. Nighttime concert over at Crown Square on Eastern Avenue, featuring international reggae and dancehall superstar Wayne Marshall, alongside Paul Train, Dream Chasers dancers, plus lots of local performers. Come participate in the Kids Talent Contest, Best Dress Competition, Dance Contest, and Hot Wings Eating Contest. Music by DJ Marcus. Come out early to win a 40-inch TV, plus lots of giveaways and prizes. Admission is free. Sponsored by Popeyes, Best Dressed Chicken, Magnum, People's Choice Grocery, Superior Auto, Ideas Marketing, Kmart Hair and Beauty Supply, Danny's Auto, Breeze FM, and Radio Cayman.
Stay up to date with the latest in healthy living and fitness trends every Saturday morning at 9:30 and Wednesday at 7 p.m. for the health of it with Tara Bush.
Most clinics in the United States, they kind of like one surgery fits all. You're saying, that's not necessary. That's not going to be the case with me. And that's good to hear.
For the health of it is proudly brought to you by GNC. Join the GNC community and take advantage of their discount days. The first 7 business days of every month and every Wednesday. GNC. Believe in the power of nutrition.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. It's open line, and you can call and share your thoughts with us. Use our toll-free line with the kind compliments of Flo, 1-800-534-8255 or 949-837. 1:30, we're expecting the chief pharmacist from the HSA to have a brief chat with us about, medications and, making sure we're all set during the hurricane season. But it's open line now, so let's have a chance to share with you. And if you want to share your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. Couple of comments here on our WhatsApp that we want to share with you. Let me go back to the right section. So I got them all here. 3 or 4 comments. Says this reference to the pedestrian crossings at the roundabouts. So I strongly disagree. I don't think we should have pedestrian crossings on the bypass, period. I'm referring to ground level crossings. What we should have is raised overpasses that would allow for vehicles of all sizes to pass under while allowing pedestrians to safely cross. Not these push-button crosswalks. That lovely old-time phrase comes to mind. You can take a horse to the well, but you can't force him to drink. So we will always encounter that one group or person that press and dash out onto the road. Now, so on another topic, I honestly believe that the speed limit should be raised on all bypasses to mirror what we have in the eastern districts, or maybe even 60 miles an hour. Now, also the speed limit for Westbury Road should be on a time shift, 25 miles an hour, like I've seen in other Caribbean countries, during the active time of the day, and 40 miles an hour, say between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 25 miles an hour after 8 p.m., 40 miles an hour. That's just my take on a few things, and certainly I appreciate a person taking the time. I know some of you are very, very busy and can't spend the 4 days listening to our talk show. But when you do, thank you for doing so, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. Says, final question says, are we not allowed 5 miles per hour over the speed limit? Now, I've heard different people say this. People that I think are in the policing sort of realm who believe that, there's a discretion, a little leeway, 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, depending. Anybody has any sort of insight into that, please, let us know. Now, this person says, I'm not sure what our laws deem reasonable, but as I've grown up in Cayman, that's what I've been told all of my life. Only to see police consistently dishing out tickets for whatever they can get. And it seems to be perspective by some. Now, the sentiments expressed by that listener on the WhatsApp, sharing that perhaps on the bypasses, we could have the speed limits in some places increase. Like they have in the eastern districts, they'll call the shares 50 miles an hour, maybe even 60. Now, thinking of the one from, the yacht club going into Bourbonnais, fairly nice stretch of road, would increase in the speed limit to 50, make it any less safe? Would that be mindful? Now, we see police there because some of us as drivers who use that road frequently probably go 50, 60, maybe even more. Question is, the speed limit is 100 miles an hour, would some of us try to go 200 miles an hour? And if we increased it from 50 to 100, would we be content? Or would we say, oh, well, it's 100, let's see if I can do 200? Big exaggeration, I understand that. I also recognize that those of us who travel to other countries and have the roadways recognize that the cars not only engineered for those high-speed roadways, but the roads themselves are equipped. And if you think driving 50 miles an hour on our roads, try up there where they're going a lot faster. Now, having said that, what is it that we're doing that we can make our roads a lot safer than we have experienced over the years? Because there is a challenge. All right, let's share the sentiment with you. 925-3261 is our WhatsApp. 949-6990 or 949, 8037. That's the other numbers that you can call in addition to the toll-free number. This one, WhatsApp reads that the pedestrian crossing at the Mayor Street signal are a different standard than what's being established at other pedestrian crossings. So why are pedestrian crossings on the Westway Corridor and other areas illuminated now? Again, the consistencies that some of you have shared are the inconsistencies. I will make a point again to maybe ask and see if we can officially get the attendance of the people who would know. But just observations. Some of the roads are marked in yellow lines and some are in white lines. Is there a difference? We should notice as drivers, right? Some of the roads, from what some of you have shared, have lines that seemingly no longer reflect what they think is or was the road code. For instance, we believe, and I think Ms. Susan, is this correct? If it isn't, those of us who are better at and more skilled at driving may be corrected, but a solid line down the center of the road was supposed to signal that you're not able or not should or you're not allowed. It's against the law, the traffic code. to cross that line to overtake and the like. But some of you have shared that not only do we not know that or we disobeyed, but there are, dotted lines in the corners and in certain areas leading up to the sections where, according to what some of you who seemingly know, I say, well, that should be a solid line because, you really can't cross over there then. It'd be unsafe. Is it just that we're not sure, or is it it's got rubbed out over the time? I don't know. 949-8037, 949-6990. Is there a call there, Miss Susan? And let's go to our phones. Good afternoon, you're on Talk Today.
Hi, good afternoon, Captain.
Hey, General, how are you today, my friend?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. I think this must be the hottest day of the year so far, man.
Well, I was hoping there's an east wind coming.
You hope what?
There's an east wind coming.
An east wind?
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know what you can do much with this heat, though.
We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see.
Uh-huh.
But that's beside the point,
Yeah.
That this extreme high temperatures really is something to think about, man.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not really a joke, I mean, I know quite a few of my, two friends and someone else. I mean, dehydration and like heat strokes and so on, and that's beside other people that I haven't heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wonder if anybody cares or see what's taking place here, man.
Well, is it that it's not obvious, or is it that it's so obvious that we can't see it?
Pretty well true,
Yeah.
You said they got some, a northeaster coming in?
No, I said I was hoping that there's an east wind blowing, but I'll leave it for that now. The thing that I don't want to put you off, but I was just reading a comment someone sent through. It's in relation to a caller earlier, and I hope the gentleman forgives me because it wasn't intentional. I couldn't hear him at first, and then when I did, then we went to the news, and he probably may have wanted to repeat what he had said a couple times prior. But it had to do with this issue of accesses, and in this instance specifically beach accesses. And this person writes that it seems that what was expected to have been a beach access and sort of accepted, now we are hearing that the authorities, whether through the lands registry or and the like, that because they're not legally registered or properly recorded or what have you, that they're really not enforceable and they don't exist and the like. This person's sort of comments is that, whether an access is registered or not, it doesn't seem to matter, because even when allegedly you have a registered access, people can block it and nobody seems to worry about it. It just depends on who's doing what. So I was trying to figure out how to share that with us without making it any more inflammatory than what the person seems to have, shared.
Well, frankly speaking, I am certainly not impressed with what's taking place in the island.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, Caymanians, it seems like we have lost our way.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically because we, not being revolutionaries, but having the gumption to get up and say, things like this shall not happen. About who you're offending. I mean, how much more offense can they have against Caymanians while we just sit there against the wall, take our licks, and we're not retaliating to do anything to help ourselves?
Why is that? Why is it that as a people always seem, we hear that we're docile and passive and this, but why is it is it that we're incapable? Are we just sheer unwilling? Are we coward? I mean, what's the deal?
If you want me to deal with that up front again, I don't think exactly that we are cowards.
I don't either, but I'm asking,
Right. I think the basic problem is our genetic makeup.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably more civilized than any other culture in the world.
You think so?
Where other people don't take no for an answer, we will.
All
and
right.
we are easy to be talked down. Okay? There's still quite a few of us on the front line that will come forward and fight.
So, as I listen to you, right, I won't try to identify anybody. I sort of won't say names, but I won't. So let's think of the individual, because we all have them in our family, in our circle of friends, in our offices, sort of in our sphere. That person that we will say, don't take no, foolishness from anybody, right? You know where you stand with that person, and they're one of the first to stand in the gap, if I can put it that way. But do the rest of us support that person, even when we probably secretly believe that needed to be said, that needed to be done, whatever that thing is? But do we draw alongside and offer support, even if the thing that the person is speaking about or the act is so egregious that somebody needed to say something? Yet we don't seem to offer any kind of support. We'll quickly pull away and castigate the person equally.
I think, basically speaking, it's a lot of support, but I term it as silent support.
Well, that don't do much good,
They're not willing to come out and stand up and be counted.
Yeah.
But do not forget, in 1960, around 1960, 61, when Castro took over Cuba, we should not forget the blood that ran in the veins of Caymanians when they went up to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Really flexed some muscle and showed people like Fidel how things go.
Right.
And we're only like a handful.
Right. But
go ahead.
No, sorry. But we know that in our history, right? We even see that today in some examples. But for some reason, when somebody speaks out, stands up, whether they're calling the government's policy or a politician to account, whether it's something that the private sector has done, whether they're commenting on this thing, the rest of us, like you said, offer silent support. Now, I ask the question again. One, is it that the times that we say what we say, we've lost the sense of civility? We no longer can share with us a sense of conviction and passion in a way that isn't laden with a bunch of cuss words and threats of violence. We no longer have that. Or is it that the people themselves no longer have the backbone? I mean, what is it?
Our numbers as Caymanians are dwindling, shall I say rapidly. And then certainly we are being intimidated, nothing less than intimidated, by what is called law enforcement. Whether you're right or not, you hear them talking about peacekeepers. Well, when people are standing up for their right, and you have law enforcement coming in and obstructing the rights of the people, I mean, this is a fact. And if I get a couple of minutes more, I'll explain to you those people down in Goat Yard about probably 14, 15 years ago, or a guy by the name of Tom Turner, who carried down backhoes and bulldozers, and then the present government, or the previous government at that time, what did they do? They sent down task force to see that nobody could really obstruct or object to what was taking place. Pay attention.
Listen to you.
He bulldozed a lot of those people, little houses, wooden houses, and one of your big politicians tapped himself on the chest and said, "Do what you got to do, Tom Turner. Do what you got to do." All right. It was the Welfare Action Committee that should go down in history as taking out of our account on employing Pat Broderick to go over all of the rhetoric you hear about lands and Surrey and where the boundaries were. Indeed, he established that those boundaries, that where they had their property, their houses, and was their property. So therefore, again, we had to go back and get it all sorted out. By that time, the people's houses were gone. And nothing has happened until today, in the best of my knowledge, to reimburse or recompensate those people for the houses that was demolished. So when you're talking, I got broad shoulders, Bo.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about law enforcement and peacekeepers and we care and all this, that's a whole part of that's just like rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take, since you want me to say what I think in my mind.
Yes, sir.
If you look at a new commissioner of police,
Mm-hmm.
and we definitely had a meeting with when he first came here, and if he wants my number, I'll challenge him anytime to have a debate.
Mm-hmm.
And told him in no special words, look, if you cannot get Caymanians to be law enforcement officers, be careful and take some advice where you're going to recruit them from. Now what we're seeing here, we're seeing less Caymanians, by all means less English, which people probably got some bad taste in their mouth for.
Mm-hmm.
But if we had more, if you couldn't get Caymanians, if you had more English police, then I would assume that the Commissioner of Police would be a little bit more cautious in who he recruit and where he recruit them from. So we're now, if you want to know where Cayman stands right now, we're standing where we were before 1962.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely back under Jamaica. And like I said, I'm a big man.
Mm.
No prejudice against any nationalities, but they dominate the island in every aspect that you can think about.
Mm.
And you see them fighting down Caymanians and giving their own a break, including the police. Where Caymanians, they nail you to the cross.
Mm.
So where is the Commissioner of Police to listen to the people and take heed of what we're saying? Okay?
Well, I'm
we
glad
are
you...
outnumbered, my friend,
Yeah.
by some of these people here, and I don't see any way out unless a few of us get up and really start what we did in 1962 with Castro.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because earlier I had said that there was something that was shared, and I was trying to figure out how to broach it with the populace without necessarily, being disrespectful or improper. And it was almost as if you were reading from my page sheet here. Some of those same sentiments were what were expressed. I'm going to get into them in a bit, but is there anything else you want to share with us?
I want to share deeply, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, no disrespect, but the Commissioner of Police comes from Ireland, as I understand it. And the Irish has no special likeness for the English. It's a big division, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that that's what it is, but my question is, why is it not more English police officers here or some other country if Caymanians are not available?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you go all the time and pick the same fruits off of the same tree?
Right.
Tell me that. So like I said, anybody wants my number, they want to debate me, I'm here, for a while longer in the Cayman Islands, so I'll be glad to have a debate.
There you go, sir. All right.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening.
All right, and don't forget that thing for me, okay?
All right. All right, I will.
Yes, sir. All right. I know what, man. I learn a lot every day. Okay, quick break. When we come back, I'll share some what that caller shared based on what I got before. Take our phone calls. Listen, man, if you're willing to share with me, I'm willing to listen. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
RC Fusion featuring Billboard pop hit songs more from the 70s to the 90s.
RC Fusion.
Weekdays from 10 a.m. till 12.
RC Fusion.
Brought to you by Tasty Patties. Baked fresh every 30 minutes. Available at Tortuga locations, the Patty Express Industrial Park, and Bake It and Take It on Eastern Avenue. Get tasty now. Money Sense, bringing an informed financial perspective to the Cayman community. Brought to you by the CFA Society Cayman Islands and sponsored by One Trade X. Join Money Sense Thursday at 7:30 a.m. and email your questions to moneysense at Candiwaki. That's money, SENSE at CANDW.KY. Money Sense, the only personal finance radio show in the Cayman Islands. Brought to you with the support of One Trade X.
Hurry on down to Tomlinson Furniture for the Super Sofa Savings. Check out the beautiful collection of sofas, love seats, and futons, all for amazing prices. This much-anticipated deal is now here and going quickly, so hurry while supplies last. Tomlinson Furniture has exclusive quality furniture that adds style and comfort to your home. While you are there, pick up a rug, a lamp, or a TV stand to complete your look. Tomlinson Furniture at the corner of Hospital and Walker's Road. Great looks, best prices, always.
Under the distinguished patronage of the Honorary Jamaican Consul, JN Money, in association with Michelle T. and Friends, present Jamaica 57th Independence Gospel Fest, Sunday, August 4th at the Lion Center. Celebrate with Sandra Brooks, Prodigal Son, Chosen, Kevin He, Preaching Policeman, Laverne Welcome, Women of Purpose, and Michelle T. Also, Roderick Brown, Light of the World Dance Ministry, and many others. Delicious Helsha-style fish and more. Breakfast from 8 a.m., followed by lunch and dinner. $25 pre-sold, $30 at the gate. Tickets at Funky Tangs, Mango Tree, Fix It Celtronics, Mac Russ, J&M Electronics, Famous Restaurant, Angel Supplies, and JN Money. Sponsors Realwood Cabinets, Superior Auto and Sensual, Fix It Celtronics, M Creations, Caymanian Times, Hot 104, The Voice, Praise FM, Breeze FM, and Radio Cayman. Jamaica 57th Gospel Fest with Michelle T. and Friends. MC Basilia Barnaby Cuff at the Lion Center, Sunday, August 4th at 6 in the evening.
Hey Cayman, this is Caitlin Tyson, your Miss Cayman Islands Universe 2018. It's that time again, so come out and meet your favorite contestants at this year's sashing ceremony. Each of the ladies will have the chance to connect with you and share their personal stories featuring their sponsors. Friday, the 26th, starting at 6:30 p.m. at Grand Old House. Admission is free. We'll be unveiling all of this year's sponsors for the 2019 Miss Cayman Islands Universe contestants. Mix, mingle, and show your support for your district. We hope to see you there.
Kind of like one surgery fits all. You're saying, that's not necessary. That's not going to be the case with me. And that's good to hear.
For the Health of It is proudly brought to you by
Eating Clean. Wake back up to quality foods with eatingclean.com. That's clean with a K. EATINGKLEAN.com.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you so much for joining us as we invite you to continue sharing your thoughts with us. In this open line segment, let's go straight to our phones. Hey, welcome you on Talk Today.
Good evening, Mr. Sterling. How are you?
I am blessed. I pray the same for you, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm looking at my beautiful breadfruits. I got a lot of them. Boy, they're beautiful. You got to get something else to go with them now,
Wow, some fried fish and flapjacks.
No, man. You got to run down with coconut milk.
No, boy. I know fish dinner, but I don't know run down.
Okay, then. All right, then we have run up.
Yes, sir.
Sterling,
yes, sir.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say something and then you can ask me about it because I'm going to give you a little job now.
But is it a paid job? Just checking.
Yeah, man, it's paying, man.
Do I need to declare my taxes?
The government will pay and everything, don't worry.
Go right ahead, man. Go right ahead.
Yeah. I many years ago when I was young and in my prime, I used to be in the police force.
Okay.
We had a corporal, we had a sergeant, then we had a constable, and then we went up,
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the sergeant, then you would go up. But I never ever in my life knew that a constable could be in charge of a sergeant.
Mm.
What I'm saying is that I would like for you to find out, this is your job for me.
Mm.
I would like to find out if someone been living in a place and owned a place as a Caymanian, born and raised for 40-odd years, how can someone from another country that just came here stop someone from going to their place in a road? What I'm talking about, I was watching something on the Mile Road a couple of days ago where this incident with Mr. Mike Adams. Now, everybody know Mr. Mike Adams as a respectable man, born Caymanian, and a foreigner is giving him problems, blocking him from passing the road. Where I understand that the Lands and Survey issued a paper saying that you couldn't stop Mr. Adams from passing. But I just leaving it to that because I understand that this man is here on some witness protection thing. I don't know who he is, but I never know in my life that somebody from another country could come into Cayman and do a Caymanian that. Sterling, Cayman, not Cayman no more.
But if it is, then two questions. What are you going to do about it? And do we understand how we got there? And if we do, can we do anything about it?
Wait, Mr. Sterling. In the 70s and in the 80s, that could not happen. And especially into the place of the Republic. I mean, I know you know where that is.
Well, I think that was probably one of the, respectfully, that's probably one of the things that when that judge said that, nobody corrected him because his comments were probably laden with a lot of disdain and contempt. And we allow people, whether they're in a position of sitting from a bench as a judge, whether they're in something else, to say things, to do things, and nobody challenges them, and then eventually it becomes accepted, and then the psyche of the people get beat down, and then somebody speaks out, oh, look at him.
You know where the Republic is. That can't happen. That could never happen in Cayman or in Georgetown in the 70s and the 80s, even the mid-90s.
Okay, but I hear you, right? And I hear what you're saying. That's historically. But what about today? If things are happening in this country today, it don't matter what happened in the past, If it's happening today and if it's a thing that shouldn't happen, what are we going to do about it, right? And if the thing that isn't happening, that should be happening, there's a good thing to be happening, what are we going to do about it? Talking about the past, listen, what you ate last week for lunch has no good to you today, if you don't have something to eat on food on your table.
Mr. Sterling, I can answer you the question. You asked me what you going to do about it?
Yes, sir.
Nobody don't want to do nothing about it because
why?
That's why I'm telling you now.
Why?
Man has changed because they now got no men with cojones.
Okay,
no more.
Listen.
Men with cotton cojones.
Yeah, well, saying a cuss word in a foreign language still a cussing. Let me ask a question, right? With great respect, only because we understand that the office of the premier, the office of the governor are public offices, so we can comment on them publicly. So what if somebody got up and said their political leadership is X, Y, and Z, and that is, not complimentary? Or they say that the premier is, and they say something that is like, say, ineffective leader or whatever, right? All right. Before I make a complimentary comment, what if this comment is disparaging? And even if it's, let's look at the UK. We see the challenge between the outgoing prime minister and the new incoming prime minister. If the people are not involved and informed and are willing to stand up, why are we pointing fingers and blaming those that are elected? Isn't it us, the populace, who are the ones that are supposed to be doing the things instead of pointing fingers?
Mr. Sterling, let me answer you clear.
Yes, sir.
I'm not calling on the politicians. I'm not blaming the government. That's why I just get to telling you, Caymanians not Caymanian no more because that could never happen. Nobody wasn't coming to Cayman and make a Caymanian can't pass to his place. He wasn't get burnt out or he won't get disappear at night. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. You know what? Okay, so go ahead. Let me listen. Talk to me some more. What else you want to say?
What I am saying, I understand that I do not know who the man is.
Yes, sir.
I understand that the man is here on a witness protection program. So why?
All right. Is that a challenge then, that we no longer able to speak to the substantive issue, that we always get caught up in the personalities instead of the policies and the principles? Are we not able to look at things and have a heated exchange of, opinions without making it so personal and vitriolic that we can't even get to the substantive issue? I mean, is that the challenge?
Boy, I sit down and I look at my country, how that's gone, because it all the men did out.
All right.
All the men
let me interrupt, if I may, sir. Let me ask a question. I'll pick up on what you shared. I'll go back to the comment from the caller prior, and let's look at if the police would allow us, as an example. The caller prior talked about people in authority, and we look at our population, and I'm not going to try to speak definitively in terms of the statistical spread. So we're increasing our population base, and as a result, we find increasing pressures for government, the demands for the country to say the government needs to provide more, and we'll just generally call them social services and programs and the like. So education, housing, healthcare, and roads and what have you. But attendant to that, we'll also need more policing, the physical presence of the personnel in order to police our streets or roads or waterways and the like. Do you think then that continuing to increase our population isn't going to require us to increase the number of people to provide services, policing, healthcare, teaching, what have you? And if so, do you not think those people are going to come from external sources? Unless a tree that growing Caymanians, they have to come in from outside.
Mr. Sterling, let me answer you about the police force because that's dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Cayman police force can get a lot of Caymanians if they want them. Don't tell me that. Many Caymanians would like to join the police force, but the requirements, what they are requiring to have a policeman, you gotta have a doctorate, you gotta have a bachelor.
But that can't be, sir, because we not hear police officers who come here as gardeners, helpers. Not saying that those people are not skilled and so on, right? Are others who have come in have the minimum age, have the minimum academic qualifications, and they're not PhDs and MDs and whatever else there is. I mean, so that can't be the case.
Mr. Sterling, make a talk. Give me one little chance, make I talk about.
But you're talking, but let's get to the solution, man.
No, well, I won't get to the solution. But
I just ruffling you because I think that's the problem. We're not ready to be ruffled.
But you cutting me off.
I'm not cutting you, sir. I just beating you up on.
Let me tell. Well, I old, but I could still.
No.
Let me tell you, when I went to the police force, I say I didn't pass my test. But the men that was in charge, then you know what they say?
Mm-hmm.
You is a Caymanian, I'm going to give you a job, and I'm going to send you and train you. And that is what they're not doing now, because I know that I had someone very close to me apply twice. They were shortlisted, and they told him that he couldn't write a statement. So what happened? We're the training center. What is supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
They are the ones that's supposed to train you. I saw Sunday with that thing on the Mall Road with Mr. Mike Adams. The sergeant stand up, looked like he was standing at ease, and the white constable were the one doing the talking, and they asked him, "What are you doing here?" He said he come there on his own. He come there on his own. They asked him, what he come here for then? He come to keep the peace. But they say, well, we're not causing no problem. So what you come here for? But the sergeant, and I think what two of them there, they not say a word. The sergeant supposed to be in charge of the thing.
Yeah,
I can get a lot of police, Sterling, if they want. They don't want them. They don't want them. They use them for excuse.
Well, there probably are a number of challenges as you raise in relation to. We hear it often. Allegedly, Caymanians, even those that are qualified, have the experience and find it increasingly difficult to find not just employment, meaningful employment. When they're employed, they're severely underemployed. But we saw the Chamber President prior talk about making a priority the underemployment of work permit holders. But it comes down to the country's priorities. Are we looking at trying to build a nation where our people are positioned and are properly compensated so that we have a healthy, stable society? I don't know, man. I don't know. Listen, thank you, sir. I hope that my attempt at trying to engage you deliberately and directly wasn't seen as offensive. But sometimes we just need to mix it up a bit. Maybe that's what tomorrow will be. Maybe it'll continue. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio K-Man. Radio K-Man's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The chief officer of the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure is inviting members of the development community to an informational and feedback session focused on the Department of Planning. It's all taking place tomorrow at 5 p.m. at the Family Life Center. Boris Johnson wins the Conservative leadership contest. He has beaten Jeremy Hunt to be named the next Prime Minister. It was an overwhelming defeat. Today is Theresa May's last full day in office, and her successor will take over tomorrow. The Education Minister and the Justice Secretary have already announced their resignation. South Korea says its jets fired warning shots at a Russian surveillance plane that entered its airspace on Tuesday. Officials says the plane twice violated the airspace over Dokudo Takeshima Islands, which are occupied by Seoul, but also claimed by Japan. South Korea's Ministry of Defense said it scrambled fighter jets in response and fired 360 machine gun rounds. Russia has denied violating the airspace. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio K-Man, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiokman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio K-Man is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio K-Man.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And if I may say that we are not only very grateful for the opportunities to have some open line segment and maybe encourage people to exercise a greater sense of passion, to champion our country's democracy and to be able to do what we can to promote a greater sense of safety and security and to challenge those things that we don't think are just right in our country. But in our studio today, as promised, in continuing partnership with the Health Services Authority, for the chance to chat with their chief pharmacist, Mr. Colin Midford. I know on his behalf I'd like to extend, he was expecting earlier, but when you're in health services, you don't always get to jump when you want to, right? So Colin, thank you for still making the short trek from the HSA over to our studio.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
All right, thank you very much. And I think increasingly, if we, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So preparation is key. Either you plan to fail or you fail to plan, whichever it is. And today is the 23rd, is it?
23rd, yes.
Of July.
I have to remember that. It's my mother's birthday, so I have to remember.
Oh, you have to. Well, let me make a switch note. Colin, don't forget today's your mother's birthday. Hurricane season, we're told, by man, we've ordained it to run from the 1st of June to the 30th of November. Is that what it is?
Sometimes after that.
Well, no, that's what man...
But officially, yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's a man's plan, but we know it may be... But during that time, as we get into September in particular, we might see a bit of an increase, prayerfully. No, but we'll see. Having the medications on hand, knowing what to what. Thank you for coming over and sharing with us so that at least we get a chance to understand what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing.
Absolutely.
It's summer too. Some of us are probably traveling for extended periods, so maybe we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
There is so much more to it than just your medication and so on. There precautions that people need to take. I think a lot of people, a simple thing people don't do is drink water. I find in the Caribbean, soda or nothing goes even much more normal with people's day-to-day activity in life than just keeping rehydrated. And being rehydrated in this heat, especially in the heat that we're experiencing now, and the temperatures are pretty high already.
if I may ask, being properly hydrated. I mean, a lot of us are thirsty. Being hydrated as it is. Is it water that we should be drinking, or
water is best?
Something else.
Water is best. I mean, we live in the tropics. You can drink some coconut water as well. I don't mean the sweet one in the cans. I'm talking about straight from the tree.
Yeah, man. And if it's not your tree, ask for permission before you take it.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
So coconut water. But what about other fruits and fruit juices? I mean, naturally, you go from the tree, you take your sour sop or whatever. It's still not enough,
though. It's still not enough to supply.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sodas and the like, other forms of libation, probably not a good idea. That doesn't add, even though you're drinking out of it, it don't add to your...
You're adding sugar more than anything else. And,
right. Okay, so be hydrated.
But yeah, drink, especially children and elderly. You need to... those two groups of people need to be, more than anybody else, they need to be consistently watered.
Yeah, man.
For want of a better word. Yes.
You're the second person, because we had a caller earlier who shared how hard it is, and for those outside, and the idea or the importance of being properly hydrated and drinking sufficient proper fluids. So thank you for sort of reinforcing on schedule and on plan that notion. So for all of us, not just those of us who are outside working in the heat and sweating, but sadly, some of us are in the air-conditioned offices probably don't think that we need to drink as much water as we probably should.
Yeah, we take it for granted.
Yeah,
and they're saying at least about 2 liters or half a gallon we should drink per day. And when you think about it, it really that really is not a lot. But if you don't practice something, then it's very difficult to do.
Yeah. Is it they say that if you're starting to feel thirsty, that means then that you're probably already starting to get dehydrated? So some of us consistently would drink water.
Do you know that sometimes there's some people who do not feel thirsty, but they're dehydrated, and no real no explanation for it. But it can happen. People go along every day because they're just not used to drinking water, and because of that, they take it for granted and they just ignore the fact that they should rehydrate.
Okay, let me ask a question. If it's proper, you can weigh in, then do so. A lot of talk from different people who say, well, drink room temperature, don't drink cold water. You want to weigh in on that?
It's difficult to say, really. I don't really have an opinion on it. It's difficult to say. I've heard a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
What I do know is I don't think you should drink it death cold. I don't think you should drink water like so cold that it gives you brain freeze when you drink it. I think cool room temperature is obviously fine. The one thing I will say is we've heard a lot of talk about the plastics and so on. I don't even know how we got off on that. But the plastics and so on, you don't try not to keep them in the car in a hot place, and try not to use them when you're frozen. Don't freeze your water in them and so on. But there's a lot. There's a lot as far as those things are concerned. I think you should probably hold another forum for that.
All right. Well, I'll get Ms. Susan to summon the appropriate panel.
Absolutely.
We'll send it to a committee. We'll have a vote on it. I figure by 2050 we'll be able to have this approved. Maybe bureaucracy, we'll have it approved.
Yeah, get somebody from environmental health to talk to you about it.
You know what? Today is just Tuesday. Imagine what tomorrow's going to be. But listen, medications, the idea that we're in the throes of the hurricane season and the like. What say you?
Well, we're still asking persons, especially or the HSA patients, if they are taking meds for chronic illness and things that they have to repeat, hypertension, diabetes, asthma, and anything that they have to take ongoing, even if it is not hypertension or diabetes and those things, that they ensure, especially if the doctor wants them to take it continuously beyond the season, that they should ensure that they have adequate amount of medication on hand. The thing is that we were saying before that we would give 30 days supply, but a number of things have happened. We've got a bigger population, we've got more patients to supply meds to, and I think it is adequate. We believe it is adequate for us to give a 2-week supply to persons in addition to whatever you have. The
So
thing
there's
is
financial considerations as well.
Yeah, that as well as the fact that we always tell the public that we have the best storage facility for the meds. As far as the integrity of our storage is concerned.
True too.
And along with that, we've got the meds stored in different areas of the hospital. We've got the pharmacies and the pharmacies in the districts as well. So all things being considered, 2 weeks supply is adequate to hold you over, we believe, and based on our experience in the past with Ivan and so on, 2 weeks supply is adequate to hold you over until we've gotten some normalcy back as far as after an event is concerned. And the other thing is too that in the districts we've got the district health centres, the emergency centres and so on. And they'll have nurses and so on. So there'll be medical contact with persons in all the areas of the island.
So with that then, 2 questions. One, I would imagine that the patient would have to have a current prescription so that it has a remaining number of refills.
That's very important because we don't want persons to just turn up for refills if the doctor has decided he's going to either change or discontinue your medication. So if you come to the hospital with a prescription and you've seen the doctor within that time and you've gotten refills for your medication, then you can request a 2-week extra supply. And what we would advise you to do with this supply is to take them, put them down, and secure them. Don't use them. You can use them when the season is finished, and that would become a part of your refills at the end of the hurricane season. So you would still have some extra meds. And what we've been doing as well over the past weeks and so on is checking our expiry dates. We've just had an inventory check, so we are well aware of the expiry dates of our drugs and so on. So the public need not worry about them expiring by the end of the season. That's not going to happen.
So is it then that our expiry dates on our drugs 1 month, from an inventory, 1 month out, 1 year out? Is it,
It depends. It depends on first of all, a number of factors. If there's an availability issue, sometimes we're forced to take items that the expiry date may not be what we want it to be, but we'll try to use it within the time before it expires. The other thing is that if we've already got drugs in our supply and they're going to expire, then we try to use those up within that time. And what we will do is not give those to anybody, knowing that they're going to be having them beyond, even as refills, we wouldn't give them to anyone, knowing that they're going to be used beyond the expiration date. So there is a careful approach to our dispensing procedure as far as that is concerned.
All right. In the studio, Chief Pharmacist Colin Midford joins us. We're talking about medications and preparation, especially during the hurricane season. Now, if I could ask you equally, when we look at, I don't know how many of us can afford to travel, how many of us would be traveling during the summers, but presumably that's when some people travel. So, if I may ask, like the hurricane season, about travel, but before I do about the travel, could I ask, when would you, as a pharmacy, dispense this extra 2 weeks? It used to be a month, you said, now it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Is it that we've declared hurricane imminent at what point?
That's another good question. The thing is, we've had situations in the past where persons, upon hearing that there was a pending storm,
right,
or we were given a warning of some kind, would rush to the pharmacy, and that literally inundates everyone, and causes a lot of clutter and confusion, and then we don't have a lot of space for persons. So can you imagine the kind of situation we'd have with patients in the waiting room, with limited space and so on? We admonish patients to come before anything. You don't have to wait until something is announced. In fact, if a storm is pending, if we have gotten a warning or a watch going on, well, I'd say warning because that takes things to the next level. But if you've got a warning, then we're not going to be giving out. We're not going to be calling people in to get medication at that stage, because at that stage you should be preparing yourself and your family for whatever precautions you need to take, whether it is going to a shelter and so on. By then you should have had these things sorted.
Right.
And it's not to like punish people. It's just that it just makes sense to have these things done before.
So at what point then? Because we got warning watches, got all these things.
We say like right now when nothing is going on is the best time to request your extra 2 weeks.
So get it now, put it aside.
And that is the reason. And I explain about the storage a little later on.
Right.
But what is important is that at the point of an event, a pending event, what we will do is if you have had refills within the last week or two, we're not going to give you 2 extra weeks.
No.
If you've gotten a new prescription, you're not going to get 2 extra weeks. And we wouldn't be calling people in for emergency meds at that time because the hospital also has to prepare for the situation. And it is very necessary for patients to make sure that they've done this before.
Okay. So just generally speaking, if I may, and guide me because I want to make sure I ask it clearly and properly. Today's Tuesday, for argument's sake. Just a regular prescription. A person has looked at the meds and said, "Oh, I'll be out on Friday, so I do one a day. So I've taken today, I got tomorrow, the next day, and Friday be the last one." Should they come in Thursday? Should they put it in today? Should they wait till Saturday, next week Friday? I mean,
well, that is what happens. But what should happen is
what should happen?
At least a week before your meds are about to run out, you should evaluate your prescriptions and make sure that you've gotten enough to take you down to the end of the week. Place an order so you'd have enough time to collect it.
So 2-3 days before, if you drop the script off, should be adequate?
Yeah, well, no, prescriptions you drop off immediately. I mean, the prescriptions you don't hold back, but refills.
No, I mean refills. Sorry, refills. So the refill.
Yeah.
And let's use today as an example. Today's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. Friday is out.
Yeah, should never have waited until today to realize that you're not going to have any refills.
Yeah, yes, no.
But
so
you
have okay, so you have refills. You know that Friday will be the last one.
Absolutely.
Friday night, Friday morning, whatever. Friday's the last one. And I only use Friday because today's Tuesday and Saturday's Friday after.
Understandable.
So that person normally, would the advice be that they should drop it off Monday, today, drop it off Thursday, drop it off Friday?
I would say drop it off today or tomorrow.
Okay, a couple of days before?
Yeah, and I don't know if persons are aware, but for those of us who are computer savvy, you can do your refills online. You can go online on the website hsa.ky and just look for pharmacy, and the rest is very straightforward. People use it. I mean, there are people using it right now who told me, they said, I didn't really know a lot about computers, but I know how to get my refills. There's one lady I know who said that.
Okay. Can we ask you then after the break? Sorry to interject.
Yeah, sure.
Take us through a little bit more explanation on the refills online, what you do, what you would need, and the like, and certainly remind us more about medications and preparation during the hurricane season and the like. Because I want us to be safe. I mean, who knows? This might be impactful to one of us.
Sure.
All right, Colin Midford. Yes, go on to YouTube. I know you're thinking it's Denzel Washington. No. But close. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
K-Man is going to Carfesta 2019 this summer. Get a sneak peek preview of all performances we'll be doing in Trinidad. 2 weekends only at the Hartwell Theatre. Music and dance shows on Saturday the 20th of July and Sunday the 21st of July. The touching play, Downside Up, written by Frank McPhail on Saturday, July 27th and Sunday, July 28th. Tickets are just $25 per person per show. Purchase at Foster's Airport and Strand, Funky Tangs, Healthcare Pharmacy Grand Harbor, the CNCF office, and online at eventpro.ky.
Hey Cayman, this is Caitlin Tyson, your Miss Cayman Islands Universe 2018. It's that time again, so come out and meet your favorite contestants at this year's sashing ceremony. Each of the ladies will have the chance to connect with you and share their personal stories featuring their sponsors. Friday, the 26th, starting at 6:30 p.m. at Grand Old House. Admission is free. We'll be unveiling all of this year's sponsors for the 2019 Miss Cayman Islands Universe contestants. Mix, mingle, and show your support for your district. We hope to see you
water
there.
Designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use. Water may be disinfected either by boiling or through the use of chlorine bleach. To disinfect through boiling, simply leave the water on the fire for 1 minute after it begins to boil. To disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. If you are not able to smell the bleach in the water after 30 minutes, then add half of the amount of bleach that was added during the initial application. Recheck the water after 15 minutes to ensure that there is a residual bleach smell. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For more post-hurricane safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And thanks to Colin Midford, but if you would allow me to ask him to convey to his colleagues, thanks to them. Seriously, the HSA has been a very willing participant and the last almost continually every week, for ever now, coming on, sharing with us the different sort of sectors within the health services. And it's an education. I'm hoping that, one, we as a public become appreciative and cognizant of what is there. Two, as parents and teachers, that we say to our children, think of the health services as a potential career. Physician, pharmacist, whether you're going to be a medical technologist, whether you're going to get into administration, get into some area within the health services, because it can be rewarding. Mm-hmm. Now,
well, just as a society, we've got a lot of students there this year, and we've got them who across all these spectrums of their student career. We've got those who are medically en route to doing medical degrees and so on. We've got them who are just out of school, and we've got them who are at the point where they're finishing school, not sure what they want to do. And I think it has opened up a whole gamut of professional ideas across the board for all these kids.
I think what it's hopefully for us as parents and as teachers specifically, because we're the ones that guide and nurture, or we're supposed to be. We ourselves probably are not cognizant of some of the opportunities, and I'm not going to profess that I know, but just thinking out and I call them the machines, the X-ray machines, the MRIs, and those things. Mm-hmm. We need people that can operate them, that can know what to do, and when images come out. But we need people that can service them as well, just like a car.
Yes.
So do we have people that are cognizant that that's a career and what it needs to qualify to become proficient in that thing? Just a thought.
Yeah, you're looking at longevity and experience. There's very necessary for people who are working in the background, especially keeping things going.
Hey, you like your car, your bicycle? Well, somebody got to take care of it if you don't, right?
Absolutely.
When you imagine your MRI machine or your X-ray or your CT or what have you. Now, see, this is how we learn, right? All right, online, it's efficient, it's effective if it works. If we know how to use it, if we know about it. So
I can say it works.
It works? Okay.
It works. There are some cases where, for some people, for some reason, it is the internet, it is our computers and so on.
Okay.
And from time to time, you will get a problem, perhaps, and that's not very often.
All right.
That, in fact, recently it has been terribly seldom. But what I will say is that it is very easy to use.
Okay.
And we're actually at the point, I believe, where we are looking to improve in many ways, including our outpatient systems and so on.
Right.
And I'm sure that improvements will come with that as well.
Exactly. Now let me ask you, a new script. So you've gone to the physician, maybe it's changing, maybe it's a new prescription. Can that be done online, or do you need to go? Or is
No. The thing is, the new prescription must be handed in.
Okay.
Well, we've also got a new system where the doctors are electronically sending the prescriptions over. I don't know if you've heard about that. The CPOE, and what is happening with that is the doctors are using physician order entry electronically to put your prescription in the system, and those prescriptions can be will be able to be dropped in the system for the pharmacist to see them. We're still producing the physical prescriptions at this time. I think in the future we will certainly go right over to. I mean, we still expect to get hard copy prescriptions from outside and so on. That is one option as far as the prescriptions are concerned. The other option is the old time way, just hand in your prescription when it comes.
Fair enough.
But what's important is that if you've got a prescription and you're at your office and you can't make it to the pharmacy, we will allow you to fax it to us if you can, and we will prepare it. But when you come, you've got to bring the original prescription so that we can put that on file, because we can't put a copy on file.
Fair enough. So new scripts in person for refills now. So for refills, we can do it online. Walk us through. The person goes into the computer, and what happens then?
You go into the computer, and it will ask you for a number of things. It will ask you for you can actually put the names of the drugs. I mean, if you've got your bottles with you, you can literally just put that information in the system, and your personal information as well. It will ask you for, and you can put that in if you go into the system. That should be the first thing that you will see.
Okay.
And then you choose your refills, and there are a number of entry areas where you can put your refills.
The HSA.KY.
That's correct.
Okay. Now there's is it my HSA portal? Is that connected to it, or is it separate and apart?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if the portal is connected to it. I would have to check that out and send that information to you. But I do know it's the website.
Okay, HSA.KY. So we put in the particulars. You would need your MRN number, presumably?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay,
yeah.
So you don't need that?
It's very simplified, and the prompt, you just go to the prompts and put your prescription information, but make sure you've got your name there and your date of birth.
All right, so when you go to collect now, you go in whichever line you go in. Do you need to take your thing, or you just go and say, I'm here to collect? And
absolutely. It is important. We want to stress it's really important for persons to bring their insurance cards. And I mean, we know people will forget them, so allowances can be made, but it is better for you to bring your insurance card and present it when you come, so that the information, they don't have to ask you a lot of questions when you've brought your card. It really eliminates the problem of having to ask a lot of questions regarding your name, your date of birth, and so on. It's all on the card.
Okay, perfect.
But what I want to say is that there are other ways in which you can get the refills in as well. You can hand them in personally as usual, which of course, we've got a drop-off box, and the drop-off box is at the side of the pharmacy in the foyer, the main foyer, just by the stairs to specialist clinic's door. You'll see a little post box looking space there, and there's a sign, so you can drop your bottles in there, and you can collect them the following day after we process them.
So you drop them there, because some people, I know some of us for different reasons, we want to give it to you, so we want to physically do that. But not put it in that.
Yeah, we don't stop them from doing that.
So for the person that puts it in the drop-off box, rest assured, you drop it in this morning, you collect it tomorrow.
Just make sure you put the correct bottles in, the correct containers in that you want. Because if you miss and bring the wrong one, we'll do what you bring as long as you have refills on it.
Okay.
So and the other thing is too, you can call them in. We do the number is 244-2715 or 16. And you can call in your refills at those numbers.
When you call in, what information do you need to provide?
Definitely your date of birth. If you know your MRN, that's great. Certainly we'll take it. But your date of birth and your name, and then you give us the numbers that are on the bottom left-hand side, that long number on the bottom left-hand side of your container. If you don't have the container, you know the names of the drugs, well, that'll work as well, just fine. But giving us that number literally opens up everything about your prescription on screen for us.
Okay.
and it makes life a lot easier as far as research is concerned.
Okay, respectful now. Can someone call in for someone else? So a parent call in for a child for a parent, co-worker doing a favor, say, listen, call us, inform me.
Absolutely. In our community, we've got a lot of persons who are not able to represent themselves in that way, and we know that the caregivers or the relatives or guardians or parents, especially parents as well, will need to do that. Absolutely. And they're allowed to bring the medication in for refills as well, or drop off a prescription for someone.
Okay. So, and yes, there is a line, but I keep reminding us, on this side of the table, there's 50 of us waiting for prescriptions, plus everybody else that is putting you filling. On your side of the table, there's 5 or 15 or whatever, right?
It'll take a whole show for me to tell you what's going on in there.
Exactly. So as frustrated as we may get sometimes on this side of the table, whether we're waiting to place an order for the next French fries or whether we're trying to pick up, be cognizant that on the other end of the table, there are people still processing other things too.
Thank you.
So for what it's worth.
What is interesting is that, putting our jokes aside, it is a very busy. We have manufacturing going on. We're manufacturing what we call extemps or compounding, really making ointments, creams, mouthwashes, whatever. Physically making them there. Along with that, we've got our oncology area where we're doing mixtures for them as well. Sometimes for the day we've got 7 patients, maybe 6 patients who are getting 3 or 2 or 3, maybe 4 IV solutions on a day. Sometimes you only need 3 of those patients to really make the place very busy, and it's very small. But we've got a lot going on, and then there's the dispensing process. We've got orders being sorted out because we're constantly replenishing as we dispense, and so there's a lot going on, and then prescriptions have questions that we need to ask the doctors about. At times we have to query certain things. At times we have to clarify things, and it's very important. It's all in an effort to ensure that we're safely dispensing the medicine to our patients. That being said, we are still looking at always looking at ways to decrease our waiting time. And so that our patients will have a better experience.
Okay. All right, and closing it out then, just 2 final things. One, I ask you about travel, and then and then secondly, whatever you want to share. But again, travel, we're going to be traveling. We looked at the script, I presume. We're going to be away, and we know that we're going to be away, and the last one's going to be the day we come back, the week before we come back, whatever it is. What should we be considering? Can we get sufficient coverage to take us through our vacation away from that?
There's some flexibility all around. As long as you know you're going to travel, really, we would implore that you make arrangements in advance. You can't beat that. Because if there are any issues, if you don't have refills, and you need to get refills from a doctor, because we can't just automatically give people refills on everything. There's some things that we've given license to do, but there's other things that we just can't do that. And under those conditions, if you come early, or if you make your request early, then we'll have time to mitigate all those problems. On the other hand, person going away, you realize, because it happens to all of us, you realize that, oh my goodness, you've run out of refills, you don't have a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of meds to last you for your time. You come to the pharmacy, and we can find, there's so many different avenues we can go down. We can check with your doctor to see whether or not they can give you a refill. You can go over to GP, because there's a prescription service there, and if it is from the GP clinic, then certainly. But there are avenues to explore as far as all of these things are concerned. But I will always say, if you do it early enough, then you will avoid the rush.
Okay.
And there's just one more thing I wanted to remind persons of when they get their meds for the hurricane season. Ziploc bag or a plastic container with a safe, watertight lid. You put your meds in there, and you put them somewhere high and dry and safe, and you keep them there until the end of the hurricane season. You can use them when the hurricane season is finished.
Right. I was going to ask you a supplementary in relation to travel. Are there any considerations with respect to some medications that you're leaving in Cayman, you've got your script, you've got your meds, you've got your stuff, you're on your plane, you got it packed. Any concerns with security, the
airport security.
Yeah, the protocols that they put in place,
yes,
and
that's a very good question.
And like, so take us through that. Where should we keep them, and help us understand?
Well, provided that you've got your medication well labeled and so on, you're allowed to travel with it on your person.
Okay.
I'd still say some places it's very different. In some places they will allow you to bring your liquids, doesn't matter how much you have. But I'd say if you've got a liquid and you're not certain whether or not you're going to be able to take the full volume with you, I would say get the pharmacy to give you a small bottle and give you some in that of what you have, and put the rest in your suitcase, so that at least you would have some on you and the rest in your suitcase, and you're taking all that with you.
Okay.
The other thing is that in the United States, if you're going to travel with lots of meds and so on, it is important in some cases that you need, I think nowadays in most cases, that you get a travel letter.
Yeah.
And that travel letter is provided by us in no time. If it's a lot of meds, we'll ask you to come back and because we've got to do it properly.
Right.
But if it is not, then we will certainly be able to do it for you during the course of that day, or maybe the same time, depending on what it is.
Right.
But travel letters are provided, and there's a certain protocol that we use as far as the requirements are concerned for people like DHL and FedEx and so on, as well as the transport safety agency.
Well, I certainly appreciate you sharing with us that, because, and I thanks to Ms. Susan. I got in trouble twice today now, calling. I don't know. The first time I might get away with it the second time. All right. And my normal back and we get free. Let's get all right. So traveling in itself is a concern. Make sure we understand that we don't run afoul, even inadvertently, of anything and impede us as we travel, get our medications confiscated or delayed or something, right?
Absolutely,
so check with the pharmacy or your pharmacist.
That's very important.
Good stuff, right?
Yes.
All right. Colin, thank you very much, man.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure to be here.
All right. Thanks very much. And please, I know some of you heard this before, know it, but bear repeating. Make sure we get our maids, keep them secured, as Mr. Midford shared, so that if there's an impending hurricane after the hurricane passes, you can still access your maids and they'll still be usable to you. Get your 2 week supply now. Never too late. All right. Wednesday tomorrow, Susan? Okay. Lunch order is some oxtail and lima beans. Sorry. Just yes, I got your attention. Yes, I like to eat. I don't deny that. All right. Come back tomorrow for the record with Mr. Art. Please join us for Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation as you go about the community. What can we do to make it safer, better, stronger, healthier? And if you're pointing fingers at a politician because they're not doing their job, well, as a voter, are we doing ours? Because as you point, I ain't pointing back at us. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.